Good evening, welcome along to Guiseley AFC Radio ahead of tonight's game against Forest Green Rovers in the Vanarama National League. I'm Chris Bell, alongside me for build-up of tonight's game is Tom Feeney. We've also got Nick Sharp in our presence as well. We'll bring you all the build-up before tonight's big game, as well as hearing what Mark Bauer had to say after the 1-1 draw at Altrincham on Saturday. First things first, good evening, Tom.
Good evening, mate. How are we doing?
Yes, very well. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. Good to be back at Nevermore for some National League action.
It has, well, I mean, what are we looking at? 3 months since the last league fixture here. Of course, we'll try and black out last Tuesday night from our memories, the disappointing 3-0 defeat in the FA Trophy. We picked ourselves up, though, went away to Altrincham on Saturday and got a decent point, a hard-fought point against a side that is below us. So as long as we're taking things from those, we should be okay.
Well, I think that's what they say, isn't it? If you win your home games and you can get a point or two in your away matches, you're going to be doing all right. And I think you look at the circumstance, that game nearly didn't happen because of the pitch. You look at Dan Atkinson being in net and making a number of really good saves. I think in the end that's a really good point, and at the end of the season they're the kind of results, if we do stay up, hopefully we will, we'll be looking back and thinking that it was one of the turning points.
And of course, you know, that point that we picked up at Altrincham on Saturday leaves us a respectable 6 points above the drop zone. You know, it's a decent cushion at this stage of the season. I mean, we looked at the table earlier, 17th, 6 points above the drop, 14 games to go. As I say, a good position for us to be at this stage, do you reckon?
Yeah, it's a decent position. I think the only problem you've got is, you know, I looked at Kidderminster a few months ago and thought they were gone. I thought that was it, they're going down. Ben Whitfield, obviously, from Guiseley's Academy, he's gone to Bournemouth, done really well, gone to Kidderminster on loan, and he's leading a bit of a revival there. And you look at FC Halifax Town a few months ago, they looked like they'd probably be going down. They've started picking up form, so that's the only worry is teams are picking up form. But I think we've got enough to, you know, pick up the points required. I know we're facing a lot of the big teams, but I've seen us face some of them big teams, and we've done okay.
Well, you know, you could to be fair, you could chuck Southport into that mix as well, because they were a side that earlier on in the season were right down there as well. Tonight's game, Forest Green Rovers, off the back of that good performance, it's going to be a difficult test, and I don't think anybody's going to make, you know, any excuses for overestimating, underestimating, whatever you want with this opposition. It's going to be one of the most difficult challenges that we'll face this season, isn't it?
Yeah, they've got so much quality, and I think, you know, you just look at Big John Parkin. I mean, he, to me, should be playing League Two at the very least, and Forest Green Rovers have done really well to get the calibre of players in. And, you know, in doing so, obviously they're aiming for promotion. They're aiming to get into the higher league. And, you know, they've taken a bit of a gamble spending so much money on these players. But obviously at the moment in time it's working, because it looks like at the very least they'll be in the playoffs come the end of the season.
Absolutely. Well, before we go into tonight's match a little bit more, we'll hear what Mark Bauer had to say after the Guiseley's 1-1 draw at Altrincham on Saturday. I'm joined by Guiseley boss Mark Bauer after the 1-1 draw at Altrincham. The pitch played its part. I think it's fair. I'm joined by Guiseley boss Mark Bauer after the 1-1 draw at Altrincham. The pitch played its part. I think it's fair. The pitch played its part. I think it. I'm joined by Guiseley. Pitch played its part, I think it's fair to say, but all in all, how's your take on a point away from here?
I thought over the 90 minutes we were the better side, and if we could have got that first goal, it may have been a different game. You know, I felt we were well on top in the first half, had a few chances, you know, ball bobbling around their goal, bit last-ditch defending from them, and if we could have got in front, I think that would have made it completely different. Fortunately, their lad sticks a worldie in the top corner and we're chasing it, but I thought the sort of reaction from that after half-time, we came out and were really good. Got the goal and then just couldn't really kick on. The pitch was deteriorating and it was becoming more difficult to play the football that we like to play. And yeah, in the end, we're probably, you know, a little bit fortunate with our lad hitting the crossbar to get the point, but I thought overall, you know, it was the least we deserved over the course of 90 minutes, and pleased with the efforts and a good reaction after Tuesday night.
With the other results today, the point I think it's fair to say is much better for us than it is for Altrincham, and it moves us to within 3 points of 14th.
Yeah, it's not really concerned what other teams are doing at this stage. That we've just got to make sure that we get enough points on the board, and that'll take care of itself. So teams are always going to beat teams that they're not expected to. Probably last week no one expected us to go to Woking and win, and I'm sure there's been one or two surprise results this week. But just got to look after our own business. We'll put an end to this run of away games. 7 points that we've had from the last four away from home, which is a decent return, and now we've got to make sure that we can kick on and pick up a few wins at home, which should see us over the line. Hopefully we'll do that sooner rather than later, and we can look to push on towards the end of the season.
After, what can we say, the disaster of Tuesday night all round, how important was it to kick on and have a massive improvement from that, where we can get something out of this game?
Well, we had to improve. We couldn't get much worse, certainly than the first half showing. But they're obviously a good side. But I just wanted, obviously, the performance. Just said to individual players, look, you got to go out and you do your job. Worry about your own job. Do it to the best of your ability, and the rest will take care of itself. And I thought, on the whole, they did that today. I thought, we won most of the personal battles, and on occasions, times that we could, when the conditions allow, we played some decent football. And yeah, if we could have just got that first goal, I think we would have been going away with 3 points.
One or two players say that started that haven't had a great deal of football in recent weeks. Nicky Boschel and in particular Adam Smith.
Yeah, both came in the wide positions. Nick was probably unlucky not to have a couple of goals. I'd say a couple of last-ditch blocks and a great save from the keeper at the start of the second half from him. And then Adam Smith showed bits of what he's all about. Taking his man on and putting in great delivery. The goal, Rob Atkinson's header, comes from Smudge's delivery on the right-hand side. So yeah, Smudge has been a bit unlucky with illness and injury, which has held him back over the last few weeks. But he's worked hard to get his fitness back, and Nick has stayed on top of his fitness and well and looked strong through the game. So hopefully both are in a good position to push on between now and the end of the season.
Going forward, the next 4 home games, or the next 4 games, are all at home. How important is it to turn Nethermore back into the fortress that it was at one stage, but we haven't been there for that long?
No, I think before Tuesday night, I think we had a record of 4 wins out of the previous 5 at home. So we'd had decent amount of joy there. Obviously, we're going to be playing some of the teams that are a bit higher up in the league. Forest Green coming on Tuesday, Braintree Saturday, Wrexham in there as well. So it'll be tough games, but a couple of performances aside, on the whole, we've been playing well since the turn of the year, putting some good performances, got some good results. Like I say, I thought we were the better side today, and we've got to take that confidence and bits of quality that we showed into those games, and go and take these teams on, and we'll look forward to the challenge. But ultimately, it's about getting to that 50-point mark as soon as we can, and Tuesday's the next opportunity to get closer to it.
As we say, Tuesday, probably the biggest test we'll have had of 2016, with the exception maybe of Grimsby away, but Forest Green, one of the sides in the title race between them and Cheltenham. Yeah,
they just keep grinding results out, don't they? Late winners, they keep going right to the end, and that's a testament of a good side that they can keep grinding out those results no matter how well they play. So yeah, obviously it'll be very tough. I think everyone knows the quality that they've got throughout their squad, not just in their 11, but coming off the bench as well. We've got to be right at it, and obviously we don't have the opportunity to prepare much between now and then. We won't see the lads until Tuesday. But yeah, it's a challenge. It's the league that we're in, and look forward to it. And lads have got to prepare themselves and just give a better account of ourselves than we did last Tuesday night.
And then finally, in terms of the squad, 1 or 2 returning, of course, Oliver Norburn, who'd been out for a little while, back in. In terms of the ones that are still missing out, how far are we away from any returning faces?
Ollie Johnson, his first full training session on Thursday. It's obviously been out for a while. It's going to take him a little while to build himself back up, but he's shown positive signs on his recovery. Obviously, Will's going to be out for another 2 games with his suspension. Tully wasn't too far away from being involved today, so hopefully his injury won't be too bad. So yeah, we're not too bad on the injury front. It's difficult to pick an 11 at the minute and difficult to pick a 16. We've got some top quality players that they're not making the 16. So it's it is difficult, but it's also a nice luxury to have, especially now. We've started to go into a run of games where we're playing Saturday, Tuesdays more than not.
And the situation with Stephen Drench?
Oh, he's ill today. He was ill, yeah. Didn't train on Thursday. Spoke to him Thursday afternoon. He was unwell and sick, and that not much improved yesterday. And he was still not well this morning. So Dan came in, and I thought he was excellent. Made a double save after they'd scored to go 1-0 up. That save was key in keeping us in the game in that little spell that they were on top. And I thought he did everything really well. Looked confident and shown what a good goalkeeper he is. So pleased with him, pleased for him as well, because it's difficult being a young keeper wanting to play and not playing much. And that'll give me a decision to make for Tuesday night.
Well, that was Mark Bauer's thoughts ahead of tonight's game and after the 1-1 draw away at Altrincham on Saturday. Our two sets of players are in the tunnel now. So we are just awaiting their exit from the tunnel. Whilst we're waiting, we'll run through the two team lineups for you now, starting with Guiseley. Dan Atkinson starts again in goal. Stephen Drench still out through illness. Then Danny Lowe, Jake Lawler, Danny Boschel, Danny Hall, Nicky Boschel, Emil Sinclair, Rob Atkinson, Anthony Dudley, Oliver Norburn and James Hurst. On the bench for the Lions, Ryan Toulson, Adam Boyes, Gavin Rothery, Liam Dickinson and Ben Parker. And the lineup for Forest Green is as follows. Steve Arnold starts in goal, then Dale Bennett, James Jennings, Aaron Rancine, Charlie Clough, Dave Pipe, Keanu Marsh-Brown, Rob Sinclair, Darren Carter, John Parkin and Elliot Freer make up the starting 11. And on the substitutes bench for the visitors, Marcus Kelly, Keefe Moore, Sam Wedgbury, Curtis Guthrie and Brett Williams. Nick Keefe is alongside me for this game. Good evening to you, Nick.
Good evening.
Are you well?
I'm good. Don't ask me anything about what I noticed in the warm-up or what I thought about the team lineups. I've been in the ground for less time than it took you to read that team sheet out, I think.
Well, what we can comment on, obviously, is Saturday. We were there. It was a hard-fought point away at Altrincham. As Tom alluded to a little bit earlier, though, those are the kind of points that, come the end of the season, could make the difference. And the games against the big sides like this, dare I say, slightly less relevant in the grand scheme of things for Guiseley?
Well, I don't know about less relevant, but when you're trying to avoid relegation and you're a few points ahead of the teams below you, keeping them at arm's length is a real good idea. And so to not have dropped points to Altrincham, obviously Halifax won at the weekend, but everybody else down at that end of the table is still struggling. It was an okay result, I think, in the end. Tonight is going to be a big ask, with a few changes being made. But really good team of Forest Green. So I think Chris has lost his microphone.
No, we've got a lot of wires. We usually do, don't we, here? So it's just making sure that everything stays in place. We've got quite a busy press box tonight.
Honestly,
it's fair to say. You'd think, one of the title favourites is coming to town.
I thought I'd stay out of your way. Make sure you had a nice smooth set up.
It was all going well until you arrived, I'm afraid, mate.
And now it sounds like a bewildered student radio broadcast.
Yeah, I'm a long way past them now.
The evidence says otherwise.
Careful, Nick. This could be a long night.
Yes, it could, couldn't it?
Well, the two sets of players are now out in front of us. Information for two captains are with tonight's referee, who is Ollie Yates, his assistants Ian Gittins and Stuart Richardson. I'm expecting Guiseley, looking at the lineup, we've gone for a 4-2-3-1. The back four, Danny Lowe, Danny Hall, Rob Atkinson and James Hurst. Then your two holding midfielders, Jake Lawler and Danny Boschel. On the right of midfield, Anthony Dudley. On the left of midfield, Nicky Boschel. Oliver Norburn, for me, is the most likely to take up that centre attacking role. And then Emil Sinclair will lead the line, of course, as well. Dan Atkinson. Your thoughts very quickly on Dan Atkinson, because he put in a decent performance. In fact, I thought he played very well on Saturday at Altrincham.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? He didn't display many signs of nerves. He did everything that was asked of him. He made some decent saves. That double save with his outstretched leg as kickoff is blown by the referee. That double save with the trailing leg and then palming the shot down straight after was a highlight. He would generally acquitted himself quite well. Still would feel a little bit happier if Stephen Drench was fit and playing, but this is what we have.
Absolutely. Well, Forest Green are in possession. They're shooting from left to right towards the 3G pitches in the car park in this first half, with Guiseley going towards the railway end as Danny Boschel picks up possession inside the Guiseley half, plays the ball out to his brother Nicky. Back to Danny, who lifts a lovely ball down this left-hand side for Danny Rowe to look to get onto. It's cleared away by Forest Green. Ricochets off of Nicky Boschel, out of play for a throw-in. But you can see that, the intent, the good passing play, lovely play between the two Boschel brothers, and a great ball from Danny Boschel out to this left-hand side.
Yeah, it was a nice move, and as you say, Chris, formation exactly as you expected. Nicky Boschel wide left, Anthony Dudley tonight wide right in place of Adam Smith, who was there coming back from injury on Saturday, and then Norburn is the number 10 sort of role in behind the lone striker Sinclair.
As Forest Green now look to get forward. They got up to the Guiseley 18-yard box on the right hand side of the ball, pulled back though to Dale Bennett, back in field now to Dave Pipe, the Forest Green Rovers captain. The ball's moved across the left-hand side. That's good defensive work from Guiseley, pushing Forest Green back as they were looking to launch their first attack of the game. The ball all the way back now with Aaron Rancine, the centre half for Forest Green, midway inside his own half. Now Marsh Brown, now Pipe in the centre circle, crowded out by three Guiseley players. Good pressing play again. That's something that Guiseley, I think, are going to have to do. They can't afford to give Forest Green time on the ball.
Looks like a better playing surface tonight, certainly than Saturday, doesn't it? And ball rolling fairly well in the opening stages here, and obviously the grass immaculate because no one's really played on it.
Well, it's. I was going to comment on that for me as well, and I think Mark Bauer would certainly agree. It's a far better surface than what we had last Tuesday as well. It's had a cut during the week. It's a much better surface, as the referee.
Yeah, I have to say I didn't notice that last week. That was something that you mentioned after the game. I hadn't noticed it as a problem, and but I was down here this afternoon actually with the ground staff, and they certainly mentioned that they'd had something in their ear about that after the game last week, and the grass is a little shorter today.
Free kick for Forest Green, which was taken the second attempt after the referee pulled it back for being taken too quickly. It's been cleared away by Guiseley. The ball back out though on the left hand side as Forest Green look to attack, look to get the ball into the target man, the man affectionately known as the Beast in John Parkin, who was on the score sheet with an emphatic finish on Saturday. As Elliot Freer looks to try and get a cross in, again blocked well though by Guiseley. He's now been pushed back onto that left hand side. Freer again, the ball goes out of play though. Slightly heavy touch from James Jennings as he looked to find Freer, and it's out of play for a Guiseley throw.
Yeah, a little bit sloppy that from Forest Green, but they look happy to play on a good surface as well. I think this will suit them too.
It's a poor clearance there, almost gives possession to Guiseley, but David Pipe does well, slides in and gets the ball back to Steve Arnold, the Forest Green Rovers goalkeeper. Now sent forward by Racine. Too much on that from Forest Green's point of view, and it rolls through for a goal kick.
Yeah, this Parkin, he's another big unit in a week of big units, Chris. after we saw, I hope he doesn't score like Rankin did on Saturday, although I wouldn't mind if he missed one like Rankin did as well.
Unfortunately, I've got a bit of bad news for you in that case, Nick, because John Parkin has a significantly better goal scoring record than Michael Rankin ever has. Of course,
I'm sorry to hear that.
The entirety of John Parkin's career until his move to Forest Green was spent in the Football League. He's one of the top goal scorers in the division this season.
Yeah, I didn't go to the away games. I haven't seen him in the flesh before, but he's a lot taller than Rob Atkinson or Danny Hall, and a lot heavier set even than Rob Atkinson, who is a stocky man. He's obviously a strong man, but he looks.
Does he fit the B stick name well?
I can see why it's been given to him. Yeah.
Meanwhile, Guiseley pick up possession on the halfway line with Diane Lowe. That's sent back to Rob Atkinson. Now Hall spreads it over to his left-hand side. Diane Lowe, good first touch, brings it down, gets it under control. He's forced to send it back to Oliver Norburn. He just dropped back a little bit deeper. Now Hall. Good play, back to Norburn. Still Guiseley playing with it inside their own half as Nicky Boschel is brought down with a fairly strong challenge from Aaron Racine, the centre-back for Forest Green. The referee quick to give the free kick, and I think the correct decision there. I can't see it being a booking less than 6 minutes into the game, but it's fair to say Racine was letting Nicky Boschel know he was there.
Yeah, it was a late challenge down the back of his ankle, down the Achilles. That's very painful.
Free kick taken quickly, looking to find Sinclair. Shot comes in from Anthony Dudley. Sorry, it was Nicky Boschel who was hitting it with his right foot, low towards that near post, but the goalkeeper saw it all the way and collected it well. But a good first real effort on target from either of these two sides in the opening 6 minutes. Again, a well-worked free kick it was from Guiseley. Forest Green now looking to come forward. Boschel tidies up, plays the ball out to James Hurst. Looks to come forward looking for Sinclair, but it's been intercepted by David Pipe. Lovely 1-2 play, and that sets Elliot Freer away down the left-hand side for Forest Green. Free with a lot of pace about him, gets the ball into John Parkin. But a Guiseley man steps across, puts the ball out for a throw-in.
Yeah, they move with pace, Forest Green. I like the way that they carry the ball.
They may not have pace in terms of the big man up front in John Parkin, but they've got the perfect combination of fast wingers in Keanu Marsh-Brown down the right and Elliot Freer on the left, and that big target man in the centre to win the headers and be a physical presence in the box. It's fair to say this is going to be one of the bigger challenges that in particularly Danny Hall will face, because he was out, of course, for the game at the New Lawn earlier in the season.
Yeah, and I think Mark is. I'm just watching the formation out there. I think Mark's had an eye on that, and we said Norburn started pushing on. That's maybe when they're in possession. When Guiseley are out of possession, there's a flat midfield three actually. Norburn slotting in to the left of Danny Boschel, and Jake Lawler just to his right typically.
Well, Anthony Dudley was looking to break free there. Couldn't do so. She was put under pressure by Charlie Clough. Forest Green win possession back. They've got it on this near touchline with Keanu Marsh-Brown. That's back to Bennett. He was looking for Racine, but overhit the pass. Racine does take it from the feet of the goalkeeper, Steve Arnold. 8 minutes gone. Still goalless here between Guiseley and Forest Green Rovers. On Guiseley AFC radio. It's a good ball. He's played into the feet of Anthony Dudley. Dudley with David Pike chasing him. Gets it across to Aaron Sinclair. And did Sinclair just miss his touch altogether?
Well, he'd actually wanted the pass a lot sooner from Dudley than he got it. He'd run on. Then he'd had to stop his run short because the pass hadn't come and he was offside, and he doubled back. And Dudley went for a pass that Sinclair wasn't expecting at all.
Jake Lawler does well, picks up possession now for Guiseley, and Guiseley looks to come down the right hand side. Here's Hurst, low ball into the feet of Dudley. Dudley flicks it across. Sinclair, can he get the shot off? He does! Hits the base of the post, rolls across, hits the opposite post, and comes back out. Absolutely unbelievable. As the ball struck one post and hit the other, but now Forest Green on the break down the left hand side. Freer looks to get the crossing, slips, he does so, and it goes behind. But how unlucky can you be if you're Emile Sinclair looking for your first Guiseley goal to see that one not hit one post but roll across the goal line and hit the other and then be cleared away?
I can't believe what I've seen there, Chris. I don't think I've ever seen that happen at a football game before. And the ball was a lovely dummy by Anthony Dudley in the box. flicked it through on the way through. Jake Lawler let it go. Sinclair was waiting at the back post. He rolled it in. Not a huge amount of power on the shot. He was aiming to just squeeze it inside the left-hand post as Guiseley looked towards it. It came off of the inside of that, rolled all the way across the goal line, hit the inside of the other, and rolled back along the goal line for the keeper Arnold to fall onto gratefully, facing into his own goal. Some calls from behind the goal from the home fans that maybe the ball had crossed the line. I don't think it's possible that it could have. It would have been rolling along the line, thinking about how the angles must have worked. But that was crazy.
What a chance that was. So close for Guiseley to get the lead inside this opening 10 minutes or so. And I'll say so unlucky for Emil Sinclair. Still looking for his first goal in a Guiseley shirt following his low move from York City. But encouraging signs.
You know, I think in the stats that goes down as a shot off target, doesn't it? Is that the shot closest to being on target in the history of shots that are off target?
Quite probably.
Because to have shaded it so finely to have hit both posts, that's quite something.
Jake Lawler there is, for me, unfortunate to have conceded a free kick. Both him and James Jennings were going in for a 50-50. There was no force in the 50-50, has to be said, but the referee's given it in Forest Green's favour. But yeah, I think you might be right there. Like you can't come any closer, can you, to hitting the target than to hit both posts in one move?
It's crazy. I mean, not quite as crazy as the fact that it's 1 degree centigrade, Chris, and you're not wearing gloves.
I've got them in my bag somewhere. I might have to root around. If something happens and you need to talk for a while, just let me know and I'll have a look.
We're not.
It is very, very cold tonight.
We're not just Jessies either. These the microphones we hold are metal, so they feel very, very cold in your hands. I mean, Colin wears his gloves when it's 15 degrees and 2 coats as well. But I'm even wearing a woolly hat tonight. No flat cap for me. I'm woolly hat, long johns, 3 t-shirts.
It's a Tuesday night at Nethermore. We wouldn't have it any other way. It's a good ball forward from James Hurst. Looks to get down that right hand side. Emil Sinclair is out there as well. Instead, it's gone to Boschel, who lifts it across. Dudley heads it back across goal. Shouts of handball, not given by the referee inside the box. Now Norburn, low ball into the 18-yard box, find Dudley. Back to Norburn again, just outside the 18-yard box now. Great ball over to that right-hand side. Dudley, shot comes in from Emil Sinclair, takes the deflection, ricochets away. Back into Guiseley possession though inside the 18-yard box with Boschel. Ball comes across from Hurst, nobody there. But this is some really good attacking football that we've seen in this opening 12 minutes from Guiseley.
Oh, fabulous, frantic goalmouth football. I don't know how Guiseley managed to keep winning it back so many times in the box. I think the introduction of Anthony Dudley this evening, the pace that he's putting into the attacks at the moment on this surface is really helping. Nicky Boschel started really brightly as well. He's over on the right wing at the moment.
As has, for me, Oliver Norburn as well. And of course, this is his first start since Grimsby. Was it Grimsby, I think he went off?
I can't remember who we were playing. I remember he sat down. He felt something at the top, very top of his hamstring. I don't think I saw the Grimsby game, so it can't have been that one. But no, he's a player with great vision, isn't he? He always seems to have a little bit more time to look around and choose a pass.
Well, Forest Green have had a free kick. It's been defended well by Guiseley at the first attempt. Now David Pipe, though, gets it back into Forest Green possession. Now Freer lifts a good ball in, looking this time for the run of Keanu Marsh-Brown. Played away by Guiseley, and a free kick goes in Guiseley's favour as James Jennings pretty much looked to piggyback Nicky Boschel. So a free kick has been given. 40 minutes gone though. This is, you don't want to cite Aldershot, but it's been that kind of really bright start.
Yeah, we had a few of those in the early part of the season, didn't we? Where we played really well for 44 minutes and conceded on the stroke of half time. But I think Guiseley have grown into the season and into the division as the campaign's gone on. Brilliant
Ball from Oliver Norburn out to that right hand side where Hurst the cross comes in. Keeper gets somebody on it, parries it back into danger. Eventually it is scrambled away by Forest Green. these crosses that Guiseley are getting into the box, doesn't matter whether they're coming from Hurst, who's pushing on that right hand side, or from Boschel or Dudley, who keeps switching on the flanks, they're causing problems. And Steve Arnold struggling to deal with them.
Yeah, it came to him too quickly that time, the goalkeeper, and he could only push it down in front of him. That's something we complimented Dan Atkinson for not doing at the weekend. You know, you either have to drop it at your feet or you need to push it to the side, but you can't push it out 6-10 yards in front of you to an oncoming striker. And it gave Guiseley an extra bite of the cherry there. Couldn't convert though.
Here's Elliot Freer again now for Forest Green, down the left-hand side into the Guiseley final third. Gets the crossing, cleared away by Rob Atkinson.
Whoever eats a cherry in more than one bite, just realise how stupid that saying is. Who needs more than one bite at an individual cherry? A hamster?
Yes, some form of small furry rodent. Which, with your hat and the beard and everything tonight, Nick...
apart from small...
well, a free kick has been given to Forest Green a couple of yards in from the left-hand touchline as Forest Green look to attack the Guiseley 18-yard box. And Keanu Marsh-Brown is the man who's going across to take this set piece for the visitors, side from Gloucestershire. Marsh-Brown plays it short, looks to find Freer. He's just put it straight into the feet of Nicky Boschel, and as Nick Keefe tries to hide his fits of laughter, that was a contender for the worst free kick, apart from Cheltenham's possibly, at Tranmere on Saturday.
Yeah, well, at least they didn't bother with the 5 people running past it before completely wasting it. But there was one man in a sort of a, not really a wall, but just stood about 12 yards away. He just passed it straight to that man's feet. Nicky didn't look like he knew what to do with it.
Well, Forest Green back on the attack as they look to come forward with Darren Carter. Now Parkin. Carter again gets it ahead of his teammate Pipe, who looked the better option for it. Guiseley can't break those. Norburn sends the ball out to this left-hand side, which Daniel Lowe can't get on the end of, so it goes out for a Forest Green throw, in which Dale Bennett will take 17 minutes gone here at Nethermore. And it's Guiseley 0, Forest Green Rovers 0. Here on Guiseley AFC Radio as the ball is playing the feet of Darren Carter. Good work from Danny Hall. Danny Hall then ends up conceding possession. A good sliding challenge it was, though, from David Pipe. Now back to Bennett. On this right-hand side, cross comes in again, looking for the target man. Goes all the way through, beyond John Parkin, and James Hurst can get it down at his feet and look to play it forward. A little bit optimistic, but it's turned out to be a really good ball from James Hurst, looking for Emile Sinclair, who now has the ball over on that right-hand side as Guiseley now look to come forward. Gets the cross in well. Danny Boschel looks to go up for it. Dale Bennett does well. Puts him off and it's cleared away by Forest Green. Ricochets, though, off Nicky Boschel. Unfortunately for Guiseley, behind for a Forest Green Rovers goal kick.
Oh, great energy again from Guiseley going forward. Really chasing down in the box, trying to force extra opportunities. If they can keep this up, then surely a convertible opportunity will follow. There haven't been any easy shots on goal, but Forest Green's defence have been under so much pressure.
If you look at the 2 Tuesday night performances last week and tonight so far, and albeit we've only played 18 minutes, but it's a massive contrast. Of course, there were circumstances within that game that went against Guiseley, but at no stage in that game, even with 11 men, did we look like playing the football we are tonight.
No, and actually we're playing football I associate with Adam Boys and Will Hatfield, and neither of them are involved.
Well, here's Norburn now, picks the ball on the halfway line, waits for Daniel Lowe to make the overlapping run. Instead, he manages to find Nicky Boschel. Great layoff into the path of Daniel Lowe, slightly overhit that. David Pipe forced to come back though, concedes the corner. Good opportunity for Guiseley to get the big men up from the back, but again, lovely little intricate passing play gets Guiseley in a good attacking position.
Yeah, it did, and it's really good fast passing football, using the fact that the ball is rolling well on the turf. Interesting choices. Danny Hall staying back. James Hurst has swapped in as an extra big body in the area.
Both Norburn and Nicky Boschel are down by the corner flag. Are they going to try and come up with something short and creative? It doesn't seem so.
Not.
As Nicky Boschel makes his way to the edge of the 18-yard box. Oliver Norburn will deliver this really good ball in towards that post. Scrambled away again by Forest Green. We've got 2 balls on the pitch temporarily. I think one's been blasted back into Nethermore. After it, well, I don't even know where that's come from entirely, to be honest.
No, I don't remember seeing us lose a
go
ball.
out.
No, I don't remember seeing us lose a ball. But it's just resting behind, just to the side of the goal now.
Guiseley have a throw in, take it quickly. The ball comes in, but it just goes behind into the side netting. 20 minutes gone. Guiseley 0, Forest Green Rovers 0.
What do you think about short corners, Chris? Have you ever seen a good one?
I expect I have. I'm not as against them as everybody else is. However, what I would say from a Guiseley's point of view is when you've got somebody that can deliver across like Oliver Norburn, it would be a waste unless you played a 1-2. Meanwhile, Elliot Freer now looks to get to the edge of the box. He's into the area, hits straight at Dan Atkinson. Marsh Brown, can he get the follow-up shot? Good work from Danny Lowe, puts him under pressure. That was definitely Forest Green Rovers' best chance of the game. It was just a long, optimistic ball forward from Forest Green that seemed to catch the back line out completely. And thankfully for Guiseley and for Dan Atkinson, the shot from Elliot Freer was straight at him.
Well, it shows you how quickly it can change. As you say, a long ball, a really good flick on for the Forest Green striker to run onto, and he had a bit too much pace. He blasted it, as you say, right at Dan Atkinson.
So we've got a corner now for the visitors. 21 minutes gone here on Guiseley AFC Radio. The cross comes in from the left-hand side. It's taken. It's just about defended. Second attempt, it comes back in. John Parkin looks to hook it goal bound, and that is a superb header from a man who stood behind the goal.
Well, that's lovely stuff. He's got good height, good distance.
That's terrific. John Parkin attempted to get a shot off that goal, lifted it over the top of the crossbar, and some fella who was stood near the fencing took a few steps back and headed it brilliantly back into play. Sign him up.
That's good. It was a very ambitious shot as well, wasn't it? I mean, he had his back to goal. He's trying to half volley it over his own shoulder.
He did something similar on Saturday, though, where he managed to bring it down and then turn on it and fired it emphatically into the back of the net. The throw-in goes against Guiseley, which, seeing as you're shaking your head, Nick, I'll let you discuss this.
Well, no, I mean, it didn't. I mean, it didn't.
It's a Guiseley
It's
throw.
just wrong, yeah. It came off their player last. They were facing this way and the referee's behind, so I can see why he's made the mistake.
Well, it went to Forest Green, but nothing has come of it. With the ball now at the feet of Dan Atkinson, who's just urging his team forward, apart from the fact that Danny Hall is completely ignoring him and walking closer to him. Well, Atkinson went long.
I think Dan Atkinson, he does seem to be quite vocal with his back line, and that's good, but maybe needs to recognise that in Danny Hall and Danny Lowe in particular, he's got some very experienced players in there, and they're going to consider it their role to help him through as much as to be told by him
at
where
the same
to go.
time, though, you can't argue with him. You want a confident vocal goalkeeper.
Absolutely. It's just a bit of give and take, though.
As the ball is sent forward now by John Parkin. Sensible defending from James Hurst, who just nods that back to Dan Atkinson. He rolls it short to Rob Atkinson.
No, I do like that Dan seems to know what he wants from his defenders.
Great ball forward there from James Hurst. Emil Sinclair will look to give chase. Can't quite keep it in. But again, can't fault him for...
it's a corner.
Well, corner's given. The ball forward from James Hurst. Referee must have seen a nick or a deflection on its way through. Emil Sinclair was certainly chasing after it like he didn't think it was a corner.
Well, he certainly didn't expect it to be given as a corner.
But a corner it is. 23 gone. Nicky Boschel over on that far side to take this corner. Oliver Norburn lurks outside the area, just where you want him, as Nicky Boschel now does deliver it again up to the back post. It's surely going to be turned in. It hasn't. It's been scrambled away. It looked like it was going to drop at both Emil Sinclair and at one stage Rob Atkinson. And Oliver Norburn gets a shot off. That's blocked. Comes to Atkinson. Now Hall lifts it into the penalty area, and that's headed away by Forest Green. Now Keanu Marsh-Brown. Good work from Danny Hall just to delay him. But Forest Green do maintain possession and look to come down that left-hand side with James Jennings. Anthony Dudley goes sliding in, but Forest Green come out with the ball. Referee allows play to continue. Now Rob Sinclair. Good ball to Elliot Freer on that left-hand side for Forest Green. He's forced to come infield. Now the ball at the feet of Darren Carter, former West Bromwich Albion midfielder, played in the Premier League. Recently as well at Northampton Town in League 2. There's a lot of experience and league experience in this Forest Green side. But with all due respect, they have the finances to be able to offer the wages to attract the players with experience to this level of football. As David Pipe now has the ball down by the corner flag, down low, will look to clear it away. Only finds Dale Bennett to the right of the 18-yard box. The cross comes in, and there is a great save from Dan Atkinson. What a save! Elliot Freer lurking at the back post, completely unmarked, hits it first time. Dan Atkinson did everything he could to get himself in the way of it and saves it very, very well. Great reaction save from Dan Atkinson.
Oh, very good goalkeeping that. It was in such a difficult area. The ball curling away from the keeper. Realised as the cross came in that he wouldn't be able to track the curve of the ball and meet it himself. It looked like the striker was going to stab it home, but Atkinson followed it, charged it down, and was there to see it around with his shins, I think.
Corner out for Forest Greens, taken right-footed, headed away by Rob Atkinson. Nicky Boschel slips, the ball drops inside the 6-yard box, pings around a bit, cleared away eventually by Guiseley. And that's a safety first clearance there.
There's chaos in Guiseley's box as it has been in Forest Greens now.
Yeah, James Hurst there with the safety first clearance of putting it well onto the cricket pitch.
I've seen a few players fall over actually. And as much as the surface looks good from here, we've seen a few times now players at both ends of the pitch plant the standing foot and try to swing through it and lose their balance.
Well, it's just getting that slippery surface, isn't that? A little bit of dew on the top as the temperature drops. Headed away now by Danny Hall. As the cross came in, Emile Sinclair is bundled to the ground and the referee gives the free kick in Guiseley's favour. 26 gone, and it's Guiseley 0, Forest Green Rovers here 0. Here on Guiseley AFC Radio, commentary team with myself, Chris Bell, alongside me is Nick Keefe.
Been a bright start to the game, hasn't it?
It has.
It's a good way of keeping a lid on the awkward banter. There's plenty of football to talk about.
Well, we've had some really good opportunities, to be fair, at both ends in the last 10 and 15 minutes or so. Starting to lose count of the amount of crosses that Guiseley have got into that Forest Green box that have just pinged around all over the place, around the penalty spot. And of course, Emile Sinclair, within the opening 10 minutes, struck both posts with one shot, hitting the left-hand upright, rolling across the goal line before hitting the right-hand upright, and then somehow into the hands of the goalkeeper. Guiseley in possession now in the centre circle with Anthony Dudley. Plays that back to Rob Atkinson. He makes a bit of headway, gets over the halfway line. That's picked up by Danny Boschel. Now Sinclair back to Danny Boschel. He's got Lawler in support and he finds him. Lawler, great ball with the outside of the foot to spread it across this left hand side. Here's Danny Lowe. Making some headway, gets to the edge of the final third that Forest Green are defending. Now Norburn. Now Danny Boschel. Short one into the feet of his brother Nicky. Turns well on the edge of the 18-yard box. Comes to Lawler. Lawler looks to curl it low towards that bottom post. Towards that bottom corner rather. But it was easy for Steve Arnold to deal with. But again, good passing play.
Yeah, it really was. The game continues at a pace. There's space for both sets of attackers at either end of the pitch.
Danny Hall now lofts the ball forward, nodded down very well by Dudley, who then gets his skates on, catches up with a good ball forward, has to turn back though. Here's Boschel, good effort, lifts it over the top of the crossbar though, didn't miss it by much, was leaning back slightly as he hit it. Had it been on target, I think the keeper would have tipped it over.
Such a difficult one to take as a left-footed player there. If it had been a right-footed player, I think they'd have found it a little bit easier. But with the angle as tight as it was, so hard not to scoop it over. He hit it very well, actually.
It was a great ball through to Anthony Dudley, though. Was it Lawler that played that ball through to him?
I'm not sure. But it
eye of the needle stuff.
Yeah, it was really good. I think Dudley wanted to get to it a fraction of a second sooner so that he could try and shoot himself. Just ended up with slightly too wide an angle.
Guys are playing some very, very attractive football in this opening half an hour. The ball back now at the feet of the Forest Green Rovers goalkeeper Steve Arnold. On the bench for Guiseley this evening, Ryan Toulson, Adam Boys, Gavin Rothery, Liam Dickinson and Ben Parker. Of course, with Stephen Drench being out through illness, no sub-keeper. Although I think there has been a couple of occasions this season where we've gone without sub-keeper regardless. My understanding is, if we ever got into the situation of needing an outfielder in goal, that man, I believe, would be Liam Dickinson.
Well, this is what we were told. Can't picture it.
I can.
Or
I think
rather,
he'd love it.
I can, and it makes me laugh. So
I think he'd absolutely love it. I'm not saying he'd be good, but he'd be enthusiastic.
Yeah.
If that makes any form of sense.
Yeah, no, it does.
Great ball forward from Dudley now as Sinclair looks to get in behind. Puts Dale Bennett under a bit of pressure. Bennett does well, though, to get that clear. Now Rob Sinclair, poor touch, knocks it out of play. Again, guys are looking to keep this pressure on. Danny Lowe takes the throw in. Goes short to Norburn. Just inside the Forest Green Rovers half. Now Boschel. Across to Rob Atkinson. James Hurst now picks it up in front of the home dugout. Great play between him and Danny Boschel. Space to run into now for James Hurst. Gets the edge 18-yard box. Opting for the low cross on that occasion. Takes a deflection off a Forest Green man, which bounces up into the air, and Steve Arnold will claim. But he found a lot of space on that right-hand side there, did James Hurst. Lovely 1-2 with Danny Boschel.
It was a great way of working across the flanks from left to right. Really good, incisive passing football so far tonight from Guiseley. The sort that just wasn't possible on the mudbath that we saw on Saturday on Moss Lane in Altrincham. Forest Green with it now, though.
Yeah, as they look to come forward, the ball played into Bennett. Marked well by Daniel Lowe. But Forest Green pick it up again. Here's Keanu Marsh-Brown. It was a good game on Saturday, but we weren't ever really treated to the fast-flowing passing football because the pitch wouldn't allow it. But it was an end-to-end game, an open game. Meanwhile, Forest Green come forward. Elliot Freer goes for goal, hits the side netting. It was from a bizarre angle, really, to try and get a shot off. But as it is, it hits the back of the side netting. 32 gone here at Nethermore.
Yeah, two more different games you wouldn't be likely to see.
But both good games
for
different reasons.
Just check, by the way, no one's tweeted us yet. We're safe.
Oh, yeah.
Don't.
I haven't asked people to do so yet, but John Parkins played Elliot Freer in on goal. Really great ball to the young winger. But that's good defending from Guiseley. They were just about aware as Elliot Freer broke through. And Hall, Lowe and Atkinson got back in time to crowd him out and put him off. But again, just that little sign, isn't it? Because it was a lovely little ball from John Parkin to play it through to Freer. Just the signs there that Forest Green, they can play that killer pass, and it has got guys out on 2 occasions now in this game.
Yeah, they've got really good pace around the big man up front, as you say.
Here's Rob Sinclair now for Forest Green. Gets to the edge of the guys' 18-yard box. Lays a low ball across. Jake Lawler does well. Gets back. Picks up the ball and puts it out of play before David Pipe could get it under control.
And it's classic away team strategy, isn't it? To soak up the pressure and use the big man for flick-ons for your pacey wingers and forwards on the break.
Forest Green now launch another ball into the box. John Parkin looked to get something on it, but it has been defended by Guiseley, and now Danny Boschel can look to bring the ball forward for the home side. Boschel goes across to Norburn. Nice bit of footwork to get a bit of space and time away from Rob Sinclair. Back to Boschel again. Into Dudley, back to Norburn. Looks to play the return ball to Dudley. Great play between Norburn and Dudley as the ball is lifted into feet of Sinclair. Sinclair turns, gets the shot off. Saved by Steve Arnold. Great low save as he dives to our left-hand side. The cross comes in now from Lowe to Jake Lawler, who it's fair to say in that situation probably wasn't the right man you want stood on the edge of the 18-yard box. But to be fair to him, he did what he could with it, struck it on the volley. It wasn't too far wide, but you can't help but feel, knowing what Oliver Norburn can do, that if he was there, he probably would have tested the goalkeeper.
Oh, fantastic passing move again by Guiseley. A crowd sometimes forget how good they've got it here. I heard them groaning because there was a split second or two where Boschel and Norburn slowed that move down to let players push up field. And then the sudden switch of gears in the triangles of passing when they decided it was time to go. Really, really good incisive move and a good cross. And Sinclair got a shot away. He seems to be quite good at turning and shooting. It's deceptive, actually. He gets more power in it than in his shots than you'd think.
Now Elliot Freer puts another cross into the Guiseley box. John Parkin looking to get that. Guiseley defend it and get it away as James Hurst sends it long down the right-hand channel. Anthony Dudley will give chase on this, but the ball is sent back by Charlie Clough to the Forest Green goalkeeper.
It's really hard to shoot while you're on the turn, sort of standing with your back to goal and swivel and get a shot off all in one movement. And that's twice Sinclair's done it now. That time he's forced a good save, and obviously the previous one was the two-post, two-post and out one.
Now Danny Hall in possession, sends it back to Danny Lowe. Goes across to Rob Atkinson. Again, I see what you mean. There was a couple of little groans then because we played the ball across between the centre halves rather than getting it forward, but we've got possession.
I find it maddening that we're watching such good football and people will complain. We're not Louis van Gaal's Man United here. We're not passing it around amongst the back four so that we can say we won 0-0 with 80% possession. No, sometimes you have to wait to pick the right pass out.
Here's Anthony Dudley, a little bit of space ahead of him. That was closed down pretty quickly as he looked to play the ball into Danny Boschel. Forest Green back on possession as Nicky Boschel comes across and does well to put Bennett under pressure. The ball goes out of play for a throw-in, which has been taken quickly. The ball now at the feet of Charlie Clough. Now Jennings down the left-hand side looking to find Elliot Freer. David Pipe makes a good run. Danny Boschel can't quite get out to him. Pipe brings it infield. A little bit slack there, perhaps as nobody really closed him down, but thankfully the ball forward from Darren Carter goes all the way through to Dan Atkinson. But I completely agree with you as regards, we've played some really good football. We've passed it well. We've kept possession relatively well as well to allow us to put together these fast passing moves. But at the end of the day, what we've got to remember as well is we're playing the side that are currently second, challenging with Cheltenham for the league title. And we are out footballing them at the moment. I don't want to speak too soon and all that, but at the moment, we are.
No, well, we're playing like the home side rather than the underdogs.
Forest Green back in possession now. They get to the left-hand side. Rob Atkinson slopes the ball from John Parkin straight at Dan Atkinson from close range, thankfully. There's just a couple of occasions where in the last 5 or 6 minutes or so, John Parkin has got the beating of Danny Hall in terms of making like a near post run and has got across Danny Hall too easily. As Dan Atkinson now sends the ball forward, looking for Sinclair. Running the air instead by Racine for Forest Green. Now Lowe down this left-hand side, pick out Danny Boschel. Interesting as well in this opening 38 minutes that on a few occasions Danny Boschel and Anthony Dudley have just swapped over on the respective flanks. Now Hall, little bit of space, struggling to find a teammate though. Plenty of green and black hooped shirts back, trying to defend. Now the ball breaks to Norburn, who turns on it, goes for goal, gets some pace on it, takes the deflection though, hits Charlie Clough and drops kindly for Forest Green as they now look to launch an attack. Parkin, excellent feet there from the experienced target man to get away from Danny Boschel. Now Jennings plays it to Freer. Freer running at James Hurst. The ball comes across Darren Carter, who was to put it in towards the 18-yard box. But Guiseley have defended it for now as Hurst looks to get it away. That's unfortunate for him as he looks to get down the right-hand side, ricochets off a Forest Green player and back out of play off James Hurst. So Forest Green have the throw. They've taken it, worked it. Still down this left-hand side though. Cross does come in. It's a poor one. Doesn't pick out a green and black shirt. Now Charlie Clough. He's come forward. At the moment, Guiseley, everybody back in the defensive third, including the striker, Emile Sinclair, who didn't really put enough pressure there on James Jennings. Freya delivers across. Parkin, surrounded by 4 white shirts, goes down. Referee says nothing wrong with that, and play continues. Rob Sinclair tries to be a little bit too fancy there for Forest Green. And now Oliver Norburn with the ball at his feet inside the Guiseley half. Plays it forward, finds down low, up to the halfway line. Forced back, now Lawler on the halfway. Mark. Norburn, just in front of the back too. It's what he likes to do when he gets the opportunities to drop back and be that deep line playmaker. Now Lowe keeps the ball in play, does well Guiseley. The referee has looked across at his assistant, was an offside against Nicky Boschel, I think it would be.
Nice possession football again. There's 1 or 2 players looking like they're looking forward to half-time out there. They've worked very hard in this first half.
A really strong shifting, haven't they, in this first half?
They really have. Oliver Norburn in particular is blowing, and I think that's why...
To be fair, this is the first
I think that's why
football he's played for some time, with the exception of, 6 or 7 minutes on Saturday?
Yeah, that's why he's dropping a little bit deeper, I think, at the moment, because he knows he can influence the game from back there with conserving a little bit of energy with a view to trying to last as much of the game as possible.
I mean, Sinclair is forced back really there by Forest Green. He picked the ball up inside the centre circle inside the Forest Green half and was forced back by the run of Charlie Clough, who just kept pressing. But Guiseley maintained possession. Here's Norburn, lifts a good ball out to James Hurst on this right hand side. Gets it under control. Into the final third, gets the right hand side of the 18-yard box. Possibly out-tricks himself, eventually does get the ball across, and it goes out and behind for a Guiseley corner.
Really good work by Hurst down the right flank. He's full of running. He's a real athlete of a fullback, covers the ground so well, and his delivery is good as well. Really impressed by him again so far tonight.
So a corner now for Guiseley. Nicky Boschel will take it, left foot. Not the best of efforts. Daniel Lowe urged to shoot by the supporters into a crowd of green and black shirts. And it's ricocheted and cleared away by Forest Green. Only out as far as Danny Hall, who just knocks that back comfortably to Dan Atkinson. Now Norburn, inside his own half, plays a good ball. Down this left-hand side, unlucky. A good idea, but Emile Sinclair couldn't get there, couldn't get to the exact spot that the ball went. But again, a good idea. I do love what Oliver Norburn can bring to a side because, going forward he can find the short passes to work it into the penalty area. And when he does have to drop deeper, he can play some brilliant, brilliant balls.
John Parkin, sorry, I'm just distracted by John Parkin, who's come over to this side for the first time all game. He's quite a thing to watch in motion, isn't he? It's like watching an oak tree running. If somebody had gaffer taped a couple of pillows to an oak tree.
I'll give you a $5 if you say it to his face, although that wouldn't be enough to replace your glasses.
I could probably say it to his shoulder.
All I can think of now is Treebeard from The Lord of the Rings. Anyway, Guiseley in possession again.
That's entertainment, Chris.
Nicky Boschel.
Hey?
Now Danny Boschel.
That was a good one, come on. I mean, it didn't make any sense. Didn't follow on from anything.
Here's Anthony Dudley. I'm just going to try and carry on.
Well, I'm just going to keep going because I never make it onto Mike's highlights. So I feel if I talk over all the important moments from now until the end of the game, maybe I'll make it to YouTube.
Danny Hall plays it forward. Good touch and turn from Sinclair. Keeps possession. Looks to get the ball out to James Hurst. It's unfortunate. Right idea, but just too many green and black shirts in the way. As we are, 30 seconds or so away from the 45. James Hurst comes forward, loses it altogether. As Freya now comes forward down this left-hand side. It is Elliot Freya, edge of the 18-yard box, just drills it towards the near post. Cleared away by Guiseley. But that was a rare lapse in concentration from James Hurst. Great side challenge from Danny Boschel, who then slips as he plays the ball forward again. The surface, that little bit of moisture on the top surface, really showing that. As Rob Sinclair now comes forward. Now Marsh Brown as we hit the 45-minute mark. And the ball goes up with 1 additional minute of added time at the end of this first half. Dudley, now low, on the halfway line. Plays the ball forward into Anthony Dudley again. Darren Carter does well, who comes across. Knocks it back to Steve Arnold. He urges players to get forward. With just the 1 minute of added time, you'd think that will pretty much be that as the ball sent forward. Looking for John Parkin. Parkin does win it in the air though. But now Sinclair out to Freer. One final attack perhaps for Forest Green Rovers. A exquisite challenge comes in from James Hurst though. As Forest Green were looking to go forward. Now Nicky Boschel looks to find Anthony Dudley, but it's a little bit wayward. Dale Bennett clears. Picked up by Norburn, kept in play. And there we go. That is the end of the first half. The referee closes the half-time whistle on what has been a very entertaining game. And some of the best football Guiseley, for me, have played all season without a doubt. But the all-important breakthrough hasn't happened as yet. Half-time here at Nethermoor. Guiseley 0, Forest Green Rovers 0.
Well, what a fabulous, sparkling kind of half of football we've just seen. I mean, it's hard to believe there's been no goals, actually. But brilliant passing football by Guiseley, looking strong in possession, picking out good forward passes, pace on the wide positions, out on the flanks, and chances on goal. Emile Sinclair actually getting both of the two best chances of the half. Really good. And of course Forest Green, you can see the athleticism, you can see how strong and fit and quick they are, and how in some cases how tall and strong. They look really dangerous on the break with the flick-ons from the big striker Parkin. And they could pounce at any moment, you feel, in the second half. It's set up perfectly, isn't it?
Well, it really is. I mean, we've seen some absolutely scintillating passing play. And as I say, we've just not had the ball in the net. We've had the chances where the ball has been... We've had numerous half chances where the ball has been put into the box or pinged across the box and it's just ricocheted off a few players and sadly not fallen for us. We've had the Emile Sinclair chance, double chance, how do you want to word it? It hit both posts, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
How the hell do you cope with that?
I don't know, and I'm looking forward to seeing it back. Oh dear. Right, well, I think we need to go get a cup of tea, Chris.
I think we do, as soon as I can sort out this technological malarkey.
Oh, is that why we're still on?
This is why we're still on. Anything happening on Twitter?
No. Well, Colin's just tweeted to say he's listening from London, and
we're sorry, Colin.
Yeah.
No, to be fair, I'm more sorry that we haven't been able to bring him a breakthrough goal.
Yeah, well, it's finally poised for the second half. There's every chance of seeing a goal. As the players tire, you've got to think the pace will drop and even more spaces will open up. So let's see what the second half brings, eh?
Absolutely. Well, half-time here at Nethermoor, it's goalless. We're not entirely sure how, but it is. We're going to leave you for a few minutes whilst we go and grab a quick cuppa with Mark's thoughts from the game on Saturday away at Altrincham. Pitch played its part, I think it's fair to say, but all in all, how's your take on a point away from here?
I thought over the 90 minutes we were the better side, and if we could have got that first goal, it may have been a different game. I felt we were well on top in the first half. Had a few chances, ball bobbling around their goal. Bit of last-ditch defending from them, and if we could have got in front, I think that would have made it completely different. Fortunately, their lad sticks a worldie in the top corner and we're chasing it, but I thought the sort of reaction from that after half-time, we came out and were really good. Got the goal and then just couldn't really kick on. The pitch was deteriorating and it was becoming more difficult to play the football that we like to play. And yeah, in the end, we're probably a little bit fortunate with our lad hitting the crossbar to get the point, but I thought overall, it was the least we deserved over the course of 90 minutes. And pleased with the efforts and a good reaction after Tuesday night.
With the other results today, the point I think it's fair to say is much better for us than it is for Altrincham, and it moves us to within 3 points of 14th.
Yeah, it's not really concerned what other teams are doing at this stage. That we've just got to make sure that we get enough points on the board, and that'll take care of itself. So teams are always going to beat teams that they're not expected to. Probably last week no one expected us to go to Woking and win, and I'm sure there's been one or two surprise results this week. But just got to look after our own business. We'll put an end to this run of away games. 7 points that we've had from the last four away from home, which is a decent return, and now we've got to make sure that we can kick on and pick up a few wins at home, which should see us over the line. Hopefully we'll do that sooner rather than later, and we can look to push on towards the end of the season.
After, what can we say, the disaster of Tuesday night all round, how important was it to kick on and have a massive improvement from that, where we can get something out of this game?
Well, we had to improve. We couldn't get much worse, certainly than the first half showing. But they're obviously a good side. But I just wanted, obviously, the performance. Just said to individual players, look, you got to go out and you do your job. Worry about your own job. Do it to the best of your ability, and the rest will take care of itself. And I thought, on the whole, they did that today. I thought, we won most of the personal battles, and on occasions, times that we could, when the conditions allow, we played some decent football. And yeah, if we could have just got that first goal, I think we would have been going away with 3 points.
One or two players say that haven't had a great deal of football in recent weeks. Nicky Boschel in particular, Adam Smith.
Yeah, both came in the wide positions. Nick was probably unlucky not to have a couple of goals. I'd say a couple of last-ditch blocks and a great save from the keeper at the start of the second half from him. And then Adam Smith showed bits of what he's all about. Taking his man on and putting in great delivery. The goal, Rob Atkinson's header comes from Smudge's delivery on the right-hand side. So yeah, Smudge has been a bit unlucky with illness and injury, which has held him back over the last few weeks. But he's worked hard to get his fitness back, and Nick has stayed on top of his fitness and well, and looked strong through the game. So hopefully both are in a good position to push on between now and the end of the season.
Going forward, the next 4 games are all at home. How important is it to turn Nethermore back into the fortress that it was at one stage, but we haven't been there for that long?
No, I think before Tuesday night, I think we had a record of 4 wins out of the previous 5 at home. So we'd had decent amount of joy there. Obviously, we're going to be playing some of the teams that are a bit higher up in the league. Forest Green coming on Tuesday, Braintree Saturday, Wrexham in there as well. So it'll be tough games, but a couple of performances aside, on the whole, we've been playing well since the turn of the year. We're putting some good performances, got some good results. Like I say, I thought we were the better side today, and we've got to take that confidence and bits of quality that we showed into those games, and go and take these teams on, and we'll look forward to the challenge. But ultimately, it's about getting to that 50-point mark as soon as we can, and Tuesday's the next opportunity to get closer to it.
As we say, Tuesday, probably the biggest test we'll have had of 2016, with the exception maybe of Grimsby away, but Forest Green, one of the sides in the title race between them and Cheltenham. Yeah, they just keep grinding results out, don't they? Late winners, they keep going right to the end, and that's a testament of a good side that they can keep grinding out those results no matter how well they play. So yeah, obviously be very tough. I think everyone knows the quality that they've got throughout their squad, not just in their 11, but coming off the bench as well. We've got to be right at it, and obviously we don't have the opportunity to prepare much between now and then. We won't see the lads until Tuesday. But yeah, it's a challenge. It's the league that we're in, and look forward to it. And lads have got to prepare themselves and just give a better account of ourselves than we did last Tuesday night. And then finally, in terms of the squad, 1 or 2 returning, of course, Oliver Norburn, who'd been out for a little while, back in. In terms of the ones that are still missing out, how far are we away from any returning faces?
Ollie Johnson did his first full training session on Thursday, so obviously been out for a while. It's going to take him a little while to build himself back up, but he's shown positive signs on his recovery. Obviously Will's going to be out for another 2 games with his suspension. Tully wasn't too far away from being involved today, so hopefully his injury won't be too bad. So yeah, we're not too bad on the injury front. It's difficult to pick an 11 at the minute and difficult to pick a 16. We've got some top quality players that they're not making the 16, so it's it is difficult, but it's also a nice luxury to have, especially now. We've started to go into a run of games where we're playing Saturday, Tuesdays more than not.
And the situation with Stephen Drench?
Oh, he's ill today. He was ill, yeah. Didn't train on Thursday. Spoke to him Thursday afternoon. He was unwell and sick, and that not much improved yesterday. And he was still not well this morning. So Dan came in, and I thought it was excellent. Made a double save after they'd scored to go 1-0 up. That save was key in keeping us in the game in that little spell that they were on top. And I thought he did everything really well. Looked confident and shown what a good goalkeeper he is. So pleased with him, pleased for him as well, because it's difficult being a young keeper wanting to play and not playing much. And that'll give me a decision to make for Tuesday night.
Pitch played its part, I think it's fair to say, but all in all, how was your take on a point away from here?
I thought over the 90 minutes we were the better side, and if we could have got that first goal, it may have been a different game. I felt we were well on top in the first half, had a few chances, ball bobbling around their goal, a bit last-ditch defending from them, and if we could have got in front, I think that would have made it completely different. Fortunately, their lad sticks a worldie in the top corner and we're chasing it, but I thought the sort of reaction from that after half-time, we came out and were really good. Got the goal and then just couldn't really kick on. The pitch was deteriorating and it was becoming more difficult to play the football that we like to play. And in the end, we're probably, a little bit fortunate with our lad hitting the crossbar to get the point, but I thought overall, it was the least we deserved over the course of 90 minutes, and pleased with the efforts and a good reaction after Tuesday night.
With the other results today, the point I think it's fair to say is much better for us than it is for Altrincham, and it moves us to within 3 points of 14th.
Yeah, it's not really concerned what other teams are doing at this stage. That we've just got to make sure that we get enough points on the board, and that'll take care of itself. So teams are always going to beat teams that they're not expected to. Probably last week no one expected us to go to Woking and win, and I'm sure there's been one or two surprise results this week. But just got to look after our own business. We'll put an end to this run of away games. 7 points that we've had from the last four away from home, which is a decent return, and now we've got to make sure that we can kick on and pick up a few wins at home, which should see us over the line. Hopefully we'll do that sooner rather than later, and we can look to push on towards the end of the season.
Well, that was Mark Bauer speaking after the 1-1 draw at Altrincham on Saturday. Half-time here at Nethermoor, Guiseley 0, Forest Green Rovers 0. Hopefully Nick will rejoin me fairly shortly as he quickly finishes his brew and looks at me slightly startled, as if I didn't realise we were going back on air yet. What I'll try and do is find out what's going on across the league elsewhere as we await the two sets of players to still coming back out.
Such a sellout, Chris.
Sellout?
I was just posting something on Facebook, finishing my drink.
Relaxing almost.
There's no players out on the pitch. Everyone's milling around in the ground and chatting. I had no idea we were going back on.
Well, I can say that.
It's going to take our dirty laundry a while to dry, given how cold it is.
So, half-time scores around the grounds in the Vanarama National League tonight. Braintree 1, Halifax 0, Cheltenham 0, Gateshead 0, Grimsby 3, Woking 1, Guiseley 0, Forest Green 0, Torquay United 0, Welling 0, and Wrexham 2, Kidderminster 0. It certainly seems at the moment, temporarily at least, that Kidderminster's mini revival has ground to a halt. I mean, they threw a 2-goal lead away to draw 2-2 against Chester on Saturday. Also, big game, another big game at the bottom, Torquay 0, Welling 0. And then I'll say Cheltenham 0, Gateshead 0. Gateshead, who broke into the playoff places at the weekend. As things stand, with both Cheltenham being 0-0 and Forest Green being 0-0, it would look like this: Cheltenham top on 79 points, Forest Green second on 75, and then Grimsby 13 points behind, despite their 3-1 win at the moment, on 62. It very much that two-horse race. Grimsby, who at one stage were, when we went to Blundell Park earlier in the season, they were a side that was looking to break into that top two race, that top two-horse race. They've completely dropped away, and that defeat for them at Halifax on Saturday 4-2 to the Sharemen. That's really scuppered their plans, it seems.
Are we playing them anytime soon?
March the 16th, I believe.
Let's hope they've not got back into form by then.
It was a rearranged game.
Yeah, it should have happened last week in the rearrangement, shouldn't it, I think?
Absolutely. Well, Guiseley...
Instead, we had that brilliant FA Trophy game that we all so enjoyed.
That build... I had that built quite highly in my head beforehand. I thought this is going to be great. And then that was very quickly... that hope dispersed pretty quickly. Well, Guiseley starting to make their way back out.
Juddering change of gears there.
And Forest Green do now follow. A couple of quick words then from you, Nick, on that first half and looking ahead to the second half. How do you rate Emile Sinclair so far in this game? Because I think he's been very unlucky, but I think he's also possibly put in maybe his best performance so far anyway, his best 45 minutes in a Guiseley shirt.
Well, I didn't see him in those first two away games that he played in after arriving on loan, and you told me he was a bit more impressive in those than against Dover last week, where he looked to be carrying an injury, and then Altrincham on Saturday really wasn't a game built for him. His movement was good, but it was just so hard to shoot on such a slippery pitch. Now, I thought he's looked good tonight. He's looked a lot quicker on the steadier footed surface as our laptop unsteadies itself and collapses. That was good. We're such pros. You see, what we could have done is I could have not commented on it at all and gone seamlessly onwards.
That would have been the professional thing to do.
Yeah, but it's less funny. And that's the main aim of football commentary, right?
To be amusing.
To me.
It's just to you.
That's what
Even
I'm
if
here.
nobody else finds
Is that
it
not
amusing.
what I'm here for? We might need to redraw the contracts.
Well, Guiseley and Forest Green back out now. The referee just counting up that everybody's there. Getting ready to double check with his goalkeepers are ready to start this second half. Guiseley shooting from left to right towards the car park and the 3G pitch. And the referee, Ollie Yates, does get us back underway as I foolishly hit reset rather than restart on my stopwatch. So I'm going to have to do some maths now whilst working this out. As Lawler gets the ball forward. Now it comes across to James Hurst inside the Forest Green half. He plays a low pass into Danny Boschel. Now Norburn links up well with Anthony Dudley. Now Hurst. Back to Boschel. Two clear banks of four there in the green and black hoops as the ball forward from Guiseley goes all the way through to Steve Arnold. And now they can look to break down this right-hand side that they're attacking as Dale Bennett gets the ball looking for Parkin, who just jumped over it as a dummy. But in the end, he just flummoxed his teammate.
And that was wasteful, actually, by Forest Green. It was good distribution by the keeper, Arnold. Really firm underarm roll out to give Bennett a head start as he tore away down the right wing.
Now Hurst gets the ball forward down the Guiseley right, but instead it just goes out of play. Disappointing ball forward from James Hurst.
Yeah, of course, the danger is after half-time, all of the quality of the first half will fizzle out and we'll get into more of an attritional game. I suppose that's a risk the longer it stays 0-0.
As if they've forgotten how to play the football.
Yeah, I'm just watching James Hurst and Anthony Dudley trying to mark Parkin here.
Well, it's funny you should say that because James Hurst has... Well, that was terrific. Basically, James Hurst had got how far above John Parkin there? He was basically stood on top of him. The free kick was conceded, and then John Parkin, in all his professional experience, tried to be clever and take it on goal, and just the tamest of strikes from 35 yards out.
Yeah,
at Dan Atkinson.
Well, I mean, it was clever striking and naive defending, actually, for the free kick. You know, he felt the hand on his back and he bent himself over double as though he'd been hammered, and of course that sent James Hurst flying and made it look like he'd come in too hard. That's standard striker backing into a defender sort of gamesmanship. Every striker and defender expect that to happen. What you don't expect to happen is then for the striker to side foot roll the ball 40 yards into the keeper's hands.
It was almost like he was giving it back from an injury.
Yeah, it was like it looked exactly like that, like you were sportingly returning the ball.
Here's Hurst now. Finds Norburn. Does well. Gets away from two Forest Green players, but then plays the ball out to this right-hand side. Just too much pace on it. And possession is given back to the visitors. 48 minutes gone. Still goalless here at Nethermore. Guiseley 0, Forest Green 0. Here on Guiseley AFC Radio. The commentary team of myself, Chris Bell, and alongside me for this evening's game is Nick Keefe.
Just something I forgot to mention in the first half that I noticed and then forgot about for the whole of the rest of the first half. Only just noticed it now. We don't have a captain tonight. No one is wearing the armband. On the team sheet it says it's Danny Lowe, but nobody's wearing an armband.
Sorry, I'm just checking, and you're right.
I know I am.
You're absolutely
I
right.
thought it 2 minutes into the first half and got distracted by the good football. I was waiting for a quiet moment, apparently.
We didn't get too many of them, to be fair, in what was an action-packed first half. Ball forward now from Marsh Brown up towards Parkin, who was wrestling slightly with Rob Atkinson. Now Dan Atkinson clears the ball downfield. First question, is that allowed? I could have sworn somebody would have to have...
Well, I'm sorry for noticing it if it's not, and I just got as a fine. But it's an odd one. And I only was reminded of it then as we saw Dave Pipe, the Forest Green captain, in front of us. Obviously, he was over on the far side of the ground playing on their left in the first half. And I was admiring the brilliant manliness of the name Dave Pipe.
Yeah.
And he looks every bit a Dave Pipe.
I'm fairly sure I've seen him most, David Pipe. But no, not here. It's just Dave.
Yeah, he looks like a Dave.
Dave Pipe the plumber.
Yeah, that's right.
This guy's look to come forward. Nicky Boschel doesn't get it under control though. Now Dale Bennett picks up that loose pass. Has it in right back position for Forest Green. Gets the ball forward quickly up towards Parkin. I certainly feel that's going to be a theme for this second half. As they look to get the ball up to Parkin.
It looks like they've been told to do more of that actually, doesn't it, at half time?
With Elliot Freer now coming down the left hand side for Forest Green. Up against Rob Atkinson. The cross comes in and the cross is a poor one and goes behind over the wall by the railway and out for a goal kick.
And it's a good tactic in potential, at least for Forest Green, to draw Guiseley onto them and the long balls up to the big target man and the quick forwards around him. It makes perfect sense, as I was saying in the first half. It's classic away team tactics. Also fits very well as the game goes on. With just working a little bit less hard and conserving a bit of energy and just using those quick bursts instead of chasing around constantly.
Well, we're speaking to our visiting colleagues from BBC Radio Gloucestershire, and they were referring to the fact that they were commenting on how well, to be fair, we defended in terms of marking him out of the game. On numerous occasions, there was 2 or 3 white shirts around him in that first half, and they commented on how that's what you need to do, really, to stop him playing. I also found out one other nugget of information, which I almost wish I didn't, and that's that Forest Green, in 3 of the last 4 games, have scored a goal in added time to win it.
Okay, well,
so we'll see how we cope with that. Here's Hurst, nods it down, finds Studley, the ball still inside the Guiseley half. Now Rob Atkinson. Goes long, looking to find Sinclair. Sinclair loses out in the air, but Danny Boschel comes forward. He's brought down by Darren Carter. That's cynical and surely a booking. The yellow card does come out. Darren Carter was trying to walk away and act like nothing happened, but that was a cynical challenge because Danny Boschel, yeah, you heard right, Danny Boschel was getting away from somebody.
Yeah, he'd stolen a run on him and he'd got the pace, he'd gone round him and was taken down from behind as he passed. There wasn't too much in the challenge. Of course, Carter was just trying to do enough to bring the Guiseley man down. in the hopes, I suppose, that he would escape a booking for it, but he hasn't, and correctly not.
So a free kick now for Guiseley. Oliver Norburn towards the far left-hand side of the 18-yard box. It's cleared away, though, by the visitors. Now Rob Sinclair getting away from James Hurst. Plays the ball out to the right-hand side. There's Keanu Marsh-Brown. Good pace about him. Daniel Lowe does get back, though. Forced him to play it back to Dale Bennett now. Bennett crosses into the 18-yard box. Hits the first man, headed away. And now Hurst can send that down the left. There's Emil Sinclair. Gets it under control. He's got 3 green and black shirts in front of him, though. Little support. But it has now found Oliver Norburn. Flicks it on this right-hand side. It's Danny Boschel. Inside the 18-yard box. Goes back across. Nicky Boschel hit it on the volley. And it goes behind for a corner kick.
Well, another great move that by Guiseley. The first since half-time, actually. They've been under pressure. Worked it really well across from the left flank over to the right. And Danny Boschel it was with the cross. Pulled it back for Nicky, his brother, who got something behind it, as you say, Chris. Turned behind by a defender.
Yeah, he did quite well there, Nicky Boschel. He watched the ball come across the face of goal and struck it on the half volley. Corner now from Norburn. Rob Atkinson gets his head onto it, free man. But he's put it a good 2 or 3 yards wide, if not slightly more. And they all know that that is a golden chance, and you would expect somebody like Rob Atkinson to be at least hitting a target there.
It's not the first time he's got his head onto a corner, actually. In the first half, he had one at the back post that was turned away by the man on the line, but I'm afraid that time that was a horrible header, and his hands went to his head as soon as he realised where he'd put it. He put it exactly where he was facing rather than glancing it towards the goal. He was running towards the ball and headed it straight towards the fans that he was facing. And disappointing conclusion to a good passage of play for the home side.
On the ball, back now is Steve Arnold. He's been closed down well by Emil Sinclair and Dudley. Cleared away by Forest Green. The return ball forward from Guiseley is a poor one, though. Now Jennings for Forest Green. Now Freer. Inside to Keanu Marsh-Brown. Looked to try and get the ball into the feet of John Parkin, who got away from the back line, but the line stood firm and did well there from Guiseley. Now James Hurst. Back now to Boschel on the halfway line. Across to Norburn inside the centre circle. Now Norburn still in possession. Plays it across Danny Hall. Again, I'm starting to hear, as you commented on in the first half, they want to do grumbles. I just don't understand it. There's a great ball. He's played over to the right-hand side. James Hurst, he'll do well to get anything on that. Defender did better, to be fair, because he was further away at the start of it. Defender clears that away. James Jennings. Now Boschel. That's Danny. Plays it into Hurst. Hurst, first-time ball to the edge of the 18-yard box. Now Norburn picking up a loose pass in the centre of the Forest Green half. Good ball out to the left-hand side. Danny Lowe up against Dale Bennett. Low ball in field to Sinclair. Sinclair goes for goal. Blocked by a Forest Green man. Sent forward. Rob Atkinson. Couple of good little touches there. But as it is, Guiseley are finding it hard to go through the middle. They're playing fairly narrow at Forest Green when trying to defend. As Emil Sinclair goes for goal from 35 yards.
Yeah, just a bit of frustration in that from Sinclair. He was just happy to be facing goal with the ball at his feet, and I don't think he really believed he was going to score from there. But he's had to do so much with his back to goal. He just couldn't resist taking that attempt.
Now Dudley picks up a loose ball, does well, gets around James Jennings, moves in field. Got Emil Sinclair ahead of him. Nicky Boschel also pulling off to the right. Great bit of skill and footwork from Antti Dudley. A real live wire then. And Nicky Boschel, who the ball came closest to, couldn't get on the end of it because it took a deflection and goes behind for a Guiseley corner.
Oh, lovely football, and you can hear the difference in the crowd tonight, can't you?
Everybody's up for this one.
Hammering the boards behind the goal.
So Nicky Boschel delivers this corner towards the near post. Away by Forest Green. Danny Boschel does well though to recover possession. Keanu Marsh-Brown wasn't entirely sure where the ball was.
What's vegan for man on?
Here's Danny Boschel now. Still, everybody inside the Forest Green half as this cross high and deep. Nicky Boschel was looking for the volley again. But is that Rob It was Rob Atkinson who was the furthest man forward that was being aimed for by Danny Lowe.
Well, whatever happens tonight, Chris, we're seeing a cracker of a game here.
We are. We really are. Still goalless though. There's a throw-in. It's taken by Guiseley. Cleared by Forest Green as far as Rob Sinclair. Now Dale Bennett. Marsh-Brown. Good feet. Up against Danny Lowe. Forest Green now with Charlie Clough. Now James Jennings on this left-hand side. Just eludes Nicky Boschel as the ball is played down the left-hand side to Elliot Freer. Hurst and Boschel getting back. The cross comes in. Missed by John Parkin. Cleared away by Danny Lowe. Now David Pipe just inside the Guiseley half. The Forest Green captain. Ball into the box. Headed up into the air. Not really away by Rob Atkinson. The first time shot came in from Darren Carter. It was a good effort and it forced a good save out of Dan Atkinson.
It did, and he's had to stay concentrating, hasn't he? The young goalkeeper. First time he's been called into action since before the break. Thanks to Phil on Twitter. Says he's enjoying listening to us this evening. I hope we can make a breakthrough too, Phil.
So, corner now on the hour mark almost, as this corner is delivered right-footed by Forest Green. Outswinger, and it comes outside of the Guiseley penalty area. Still though, Forest Green in possession with Elliot Freer. Now Dudley. Short ball down this near side. James Hurst just about does enough to get it away. Now Lawler plays a good ball through to Danny Lowe. First time pass forward into the feet of Emil Sinclair. Sinclair into the 18-yard box. He's been forced wide though. Goes for goal and hits the crossbar from a really tight angle. Emil Sinclair hits the crossbar and the follow-up from Nicky Boschel. Well, we've got a corner out of it. I thought the goalkeeper just held that.
It was a beautiful sweeping move from right back to left of attacking positions, all the way diagonally across the pitch. Sinclair's hit all three parts of the woodwork tonight, and only in 2 shots too.
Oh, there is a man who, if he doesn't get on the score sheet tonight, will be absolutely ruining his luck. We've got a corner now for Guiseley. Nicky Boschel, it's a poor one, but it takes a couple of deflections. It almost drops for Norburn, who just tried to fling something at it, and it goes behind for a goal kick. I think he was looking for a corner, but there wasn't a deflection.
Just couldn't get his foot around it, all happening so quickly. Just took the outside of his boot, couldn't turn it inside towards the goal. God, it's exciting stuff. You know there's heartache waiting for us at the end of this, Chris, surely.
That's the spirit.
How can there not be? We've played so well against a team who are so much higher in the table.
Well, Guiseley back in possession. Inside their own half as the ball's back with James Hurst. Now Nicky Boschel. Now Danny. Nice 1-2 between the Boschel brothers. The ball's lifted over to that left-hand side. Finds Danny Lowe with a good pass. Infield to Emil Sinclair, who looked to return the pass to Lowe, but Lowe, the run from Lowe, had been marked well by Dale Bennett. Now David Pipe looks to come away. Emil Sinclair, though, does well. Pressing and Harry ends up inadvertently conceding a free kick. Parkin goes down right in front of the away dugout. It was Oliver Norburn who has brought the big man down. So does that make Oliver Norburn a lumberjack?
It makes him a little bit lucky not to go in the book, actually, because Parkin went down in a real heap in front of his own subs bench and coaches. And,
it's fair to say they appealed for that.
Yeah, I wondered whether the referee was going to get a card out for that. He hasn't.
So, free kick just in front of the away dugout, taken by Dale Bennett, up towards Parkin, no surprise there. Cleared away by Guiseley, great blocking play from Jake Lawler, who threw himself in front of the first time effort from Forest Green. The ball trickles through, looking for Elliot Freer, but Dan Atkinson collects that well. We've played 63 minutes. Still goalless here at Nethermoor. Guiseley nil, Forest Green Rovers nil here on Guiseley AFC Radio. Don't forget we're back in action on Saturday as we welcome Braintree to Nethermoor. Good work there from Danny Lowe. Wins possession back for Guiseley as it looked to have got away. Emil Sinclair. He's got players over on this right hand side. Finds James Hurst, who's he's just put in a contender for the worst cross of the game. Unfortunately.
Was it a cross? I thought he was trying to bring down a weather satellite.
That's really unfortunate again, though, because the sweeping movement there.
Lovely move.
Emil Sinclair, when he was bearing down on goal, he crossed my mind, shoot. But he didn't fancy his chances.
Well, the woodwork is extra wide for Sinclair tonight, isn't it? I don't know how he's managed to be so unlucky.
We're going to see a change for Forest Green fairly soon.
You know, when you see a striker shoot for the centre of the goal, you say it's a tame, disappointing shot. He's gone for the corners and he's gone for the top of the net, and he's been repelled by the posts and the crossbar.
We've got a free kick for Forest Green, but we're going to see the substitution first.
It would be a striker, eh? Apart from the fact that you get the most money and all the glory.
And it's Darren Carter who's coming off, and he's being replaced. But this doesn't fill me with happiness. He's being replaced by number 14, Keefe, who is taller than John Parkin. He's a 6'5" beanpole of a striker in comparison, but it's another target man. So with playing with Parkin and Keefe,
why is he taking his time leaving the pitch here, Carter? Are they playing for time for a 0-0 draw away at Guiseley?
I won't complain at that.
Oh, it's just there's no need for them to do it.
So Keefe comes on. He's now the tallest man, stood on the edge of the 18-yard box. As Forest Green floating this free kick straight up to Moore, who tried to knock it down with his chest, but it's been defended well by Guiseley. Emil Sinclair just dropped the possession there. Anthony Dudley does enough. Danny Bosco sliding in, but misses it altogether. And Keanu Roche-Brown can pick up the ball again. Plays it down the left. Elliot Freer on the overlapping run. Cross comes in, headed away well by Rob Atkinson for a Forest Green throw.
This is where Jake Lawler's going to come into his own, the extra tall man in midfield for Guiseley. He's going to be needed now.
Absolutely, as a cross comes in very, very deep towards the back post. That's good work from Nicky Boschel there to get there ahead of Rob Sinclair and clear it away. But what started as a 4-1-4-1 formation for Forest Green is very much a straight 4-4-2 now. With David Pipe and Rob Sinclair making up the two central midfielders. Keefe and John Parkin up front. Goal kick now for Guiseley. Just need to get a little bit of a spark back. So over the last 6-7 minutes or so, Forest Green have been the side that have dictated the play, really.
Well, it's just hitting a lull now, isn't it? There's just a moment or two of calm around the ground. This is where players' concentration has to be really good. They're starting to get tired. And the game slows down for a second, and it's so easy to just drop the intensity accidentally. And Guiseley have an extra concern, an extra man to watch out for, the new striker Moore, who is even taller than Jake Lawler. But as I say, having a very tall man in midfield really does help from set pieces when you're defending. He's a big asset to Guiseley, is Jake.
Lovely little knockdown from John Parkin, plays in more on the right hand side of the 18-yard box. Good sliding challenge comes in from Danny Hall, and it goes behind for a Forest Green Rovers corner as we hit the halfway point in the second half.
He's not slow either, is he, Mort? He showed a good change of pace there. And towering over Danny Hall, who's now Danny Lowe, sorry, who's now marking him. And they might need to change who's following who.
Jake Lawler stood trying to mark the runner, isn't he?
Jake's stood by himself on the edge of the area, and Lowe's got the big man.
The cross comes in from the corner. It drops in just outside the 6-yard box, and guys have scrambled it clear. I think Tyrrell's 3 green and black shirts went down, one of which is still down inside the 6-yard box. Somebody for Dan Atkinson to talk to. There's a ball for Steve Arnold. Comes down this left-hand side to Freer. Can't see who that is. I think it's James Jennings, who is just back onto his feet, hobbling back towards the halfway line now.
Looks like he'll run it off, but he's not too happy at the moment.
There's Arnold. Sends it downfield over that right-hand side. Almost loses his footing completely as he clears the ball forward. Danny Hall misses the ball there. Now John Parkin looks to play it into the feet of Keefe Moore. Good footwork, though, from the big man there to turn away. And 2 guys are defenders, but Danny Lowe does well. And can just about get that away.
Forest Green just coming on, though, a little bit more. Guiseley clearances are just being made for distance rather than to find a particular player now.
Yeah, certainly get the feeling that may be the case for the rest of this half as Elliot Freer goes. But he didn't go down, he went to his knees, didn't he? He was claiming a foul from James Hurst. The referee waves play on. Now Anthony Dudley for Guiseley. Can the Lions get that bit of pace and creativity back into the game?
I feel like if Freer had gone down there, he might have actually won that penalty, because I think he might have been being held slightly.
Superb ball from James Hurst over that left-hand side, finds Danny Lowe. He tried to find Nicky Boschel, but the visitors have dealt with it and get it long, up towards Keefe Moore. Goes away from him, and now knocked back by Norburn. So Danny Hall. Norburn again. 20 minutes of the second half to go. As Nicky Boschel now gets a bit of space down his left-hand side. Emile Sinclair wants it on the edge of the box. The cross is a poor one. Takes a deflection off a Forest Green man, though. Now Lowe. Gets to the byline, pulls it back. Nicky Boschel needs to clear it, do something with it quickly. Drops for Norburn, who looked to go for the spectacular. Skews it completely wrong. Ends up, fortunately, skewing its way across to this right-hand side, though, where it finds James Hurst. I'd love to say he meant that, but he didn't. Here's Norburn again, though. He's caught in possession. Does well, though. Recovers it. Lawler. Now Boschel. Anthony Dudley outside the 18-yard box. Shot comes in. Takes the deflection. Behind for a Guiseley corner.
Yeah, good charging, closing down again by Forest Green in defence. Dudley was keen to turn and get a shot off, and the deflection brings this corner.
Well, it's what we need. We do need to be trying to get some shots off into the final 20 minutes.
I don't want to get too many off, because otherwise we're going to get really fed up about how many times we've hit the woodwork. It's the only place all the good shots are going tonight. No, that's not fair, because there's been several good attempts and only 2 have hit the woodwork 3 times.
Oliver Norburn delivers this set piece. A little bit deeper, but simple for defend. More so when it was Keefe Moore that was the man that was back there. Now Danny Hall lifts it into the 18-yard box. 2 green and black shirts go up above Emile Sinclair. Still, Guiseley in possession. Rob Atkinson gets it back through. Here's Dudley inside the 18-yard box. Played out to the right-hand side. Now Hurst. Hurst delivers a much better cross than his last one. Comes across, gets to the edge of the box. And that's Oliver Norburn again. Taking it first time, and he's dragged that 10 or so yards wide.
He's left his shooting boots at home tonight, hasn't he, Norburn?
Yeah, he's got any passing ones on, hasn't he? But the shooting boots are certainly not there.
Yeah, I actually thought from the way, I hadn't seen who'd taken it. I thought from the way the shot had gone that was Danny Lowe
Yeah.
trying on his weaker right foot.
I had that same thought.
Yeah.
And then I realised, wait, that's orange boots.
Yeah.
Now Keefe Moore for Forest Green. Gets the ball forward, finds Elliot Free, who's to the left of the guy's 18-yard box, gets the byline, pulls it across. Dealt with by Danny Hall. Now Dudley. Now Hurst, first time low pass. Asking a little bit much there perhaps of Emile Sinclair. Anthony Dudley does well, gets away from pipe. Can't find Sinclair though, but for me, Sinclair was the man that should have done better there rather than Anthony Dudley. Now Keanu Marsh-Brown on this left-hand side, midway inside the Guiseley half, but close to this touchline, moves in field. Still Marsh Brown outside the box, goes for goal, straight down the throat of Dan Atkinson.
Just want to keep an eye on Sinclair as the game goes on. If he starts to fade, then as well as he's played, there's plenty of options on the bench.
I was about to ask you, would you be tempted to make that change at some point?
Well, he does look quite quick, you know. He looks a little bit quicker than maybe Adam Boyes is.
He's got strength as well.
But if he's starting to run out of legs, then Boyes would be the natural swap.
Elliott free and out, in possession. Nobody closing him down. Finds Pipe. Across to Rob Sinclair. Now Dale Bennett pushed up from right back. Sinclair again. Very slow.
There is a sub coming on. I don't think it's Adam Boyes.
I think it's Dicko.
Is Dan Atkinson injured?
Thankfully, he's not. But
a free kick. Why are we bringing the sub-keeper on?
A free kick has been given to Forest Green. Midway in the Guiseley half, maybe 20-25 yards out. Further to the right-hand side, though, talking only 6-7 yards or so away from that far touchline.
Yeah, real danger. Very, very congested box at the moment. They're all going to be charging Dan Atkinson's way in just a moment's time.
So the free kick is taken by Forest Green. Headed away by Danny Hall. Shot comes in from Forest Green. Skews wide. But it has gone behind.
Well, fizzled out that, didn't it? A bit of a let-off, poor delivery from the free kick, and it gives both teams a chance to make a substitution.
It is Liam Dickinson for Guiseley, but first we'll see which change is going to be made first, and it is Liam Dickinson who's coming on to replace a very, very unfortunate Emile Sinclair.
Yeah, you won't come much closer to scoring than Emile Sinclair has done tonight. And that one in the first half, where he hit both posts, for those of us who weren't listening, both posts in the same shot. And then in the second half, the underside of the crossbar, and it came back out. But a really bright showing, and I think Mark is maybe taking him off, save his legs, make sure he's ready to go again on Saturday. William Dickinson coming on, and similarly to what they've done with Keefe and Moore, bringing a tall man on up front just to give a different outlet as the game wears on. And a change for Forest Green as well too, Chris.
Yeah, John Parkin, we've seen the back of him. He's been replaced by Brett Williams. There's a great ball. He's played through towards Keefe and Moore. A little bit too much pace on it though. Dan Atkinson very aware of that. Off his line quickly to deal with it. Ball forward now from Dan Atkinson. Finds Dickinson. Forest Green pick up possession. Another good ball forward over the top. This one finds Brett Williams. The substitute's just come on. First time ball isn't a great one. Danny Hall deals with it well. So the ball forward goes into the dugout when it should have been aiming for Liam Dickinson.
Yeah, and Mark Bauer will have asked for 15 minutes of Dicko's best, I think. He will have to come on, and he's got all the chasing and the working that Sinclair was doing to do. And he's got the work of the target man as well.
He's pulling slightly over to that left-hand side though, isn't he?
Well, he came on with some specific instructions actually, and as far as I assumed, it would just be that he would come on as the one at the fulcrum of the attack in the number 9, but he's dropping deep, coming out to the wide, as the left flank, as you say, Chris.
Great touch from Nicky Boschel. He knocks it back to Oliver Norburn inside the final 15. Norburn goes back to Danny Boschel. Now with Rob Atkinson. Now Dudley finds James Hurst. Hurst delivers the cross towards that back post. There is Dickinson. Bit of a dodgy header back in towards the 18-yard box, but it's been cleared away well by Forest Green. And then, who was fouled then? Was that Brett Williams, I think, in full run? The substitute who's just come on. And who's just gone to the book? Is it Danny Hall? It is.
It was Danny Hall who committed the foul, you're right. Yeah, the cross before just was a little bit deep, and as it dropped onto Dickinson's head, he was far too wide out. He was trying to head it back across the face of goal in the hopes that someone would be able to come onto it, but he actually kind of looped it up in the air a bit. The important difference to what Sinclair was doing before is that Dickinson's now dropped back onto the edge of the area to defend this throw-in, and it's actually Nicky Boschel who's taken up the role of outlet as the most furthest forward Guiseley player.
Free kick taken by Forest Green. Finds Charlie Clough a little bit too easily. He tries to turn and play the ball across, but Norburn is there, and the referee sees a handball from a Forest Green man and gives the free kick to Guiseley. As you say, Anthony Dudley is the man who's leading the line at the moment more so. Liam Dickinson alongside with him when he can, but dropping deep, possibly trying to get the flick-ons in the same way that we mentioned in the first half. And John Parkin was trying to do that, wasn't he, to bring others into play. Dickinson loses out in the air though. Now Moore for Forest Green. Back to Rob Sinclair. Good ball played across to his left hand side. Heavy touch from Freya, but he does enough to keep it in. He's got the turn of pace. Now trying to get around the outside of Hurst. He's forced to turn back, still with the ball at his feet. Elliot Freya gets the cross in eventually. Dan Atkinson forced, well, it looked like from our angle anyway, he was forced to put that behind, but the referee says it went out of play.
No, I thought he did well to get out of the way of it. It's hard to see. Strikes the side netting, and that in itself is reasonably impressive because the nets aren't especially deep here at Nethermore. But no, harmlessly out for a goal kick. And just as we get in towards the last 10 minutes of this game, the nerves are going to start to jangle a little bit. One or two tired legs, everything on a knife edge, still at 0-0.
And I hate that fact that Forest Green, renowned in recent form for snatching things in added time. It's Danny Hall, chest ball down to Danny Lowe. Nicky Boschel shoved in the back there by Dale Bennett. Wins his side a free kick.
I think there's a second substitute being readied over there. Chris, can you see who that is? Is that Gavin Rothery? Is it Adam?
I think it's Gavin Rothery. Don't think he's tall enough to be Adam Boyes. Free kick though for Guiseley on the halfway line, which I would expect we're going to get taken before the substitute is made. Indeed we are, as the free kick is taken by Hurst, nodded down by Dickinson. Loose pass on the edge of the 18-yard box. It's been cut out by Forest Green. And this is where we've got to hope that fitness doesn't get away from Guiseley, of course, with Forest Green full-time club. That's Danny Hall is caught in possession there by Brett Williams. The ball is played across. Freya can't get there because James Hurst has done very, very well to get himself between Freya and the ball, but has been forced to turn it behind for a corner.
Yeah, dangerous moment that for Guiseley. I think it's actually a long throw-in. Oh no, no, of course it's not. Sorry, I saw it go behind. I just saw the player stood with the ball in his hands. He's actually just waiting to see if Guiseley are making the change now. I don't think they are, as Freya signals for the corner.
It is Elliot Freya delivers this, left-footed towards the penalty spot. Played away well. Good ball from Oliver Norburn to play that into Nicky Boschel. Boschel gets to the halfway line. He's got Dudley ahead of him. Looks to switch it to the left-hand side to find Danny Lowe. Really good ball that from Nicky Boschel. Meanwhile, Oliver Norburn is down and looks in pain. But play continues with Forest Green winning possession in their defensive third. Poor pass, poor play, sorry there from Anthony Dudley. Norburn is back on his feet, hobbling around a bit. 3 men for Forest Green over on this left-hand side. Keanu Welsh-Brown gets it round. Still Dan Atkinson gets something on it. Keanu Welsh-Brown pulls it back across to Brett Williams, who puts it in. It was a scrappy set of play from Guiseley, and they've paid the price for their missed chances in the opening half of this game. Guiseley falling behind, against Forest Green.
Well, absolute heartbreak for Guiseley. the change that was about to be made anyway, I'm absolutely sure, was that Oliver Norburn was going to be heading off. He's not been fully fit. He went down clutching his Achilles, it looked like, or his ankle at least, during that move. Gavin Rothery waiting to come on. He'd got back onto his feet, but as he had a player bearing down on him, he had to let them pass. Dan Atkinson came out a little bit too soon. He didn't get to the ball in time. On the turn, on the ground, he'd managed to get half a hand to it to delay the move, but there were enough Forest Green players on rushing, with the keeper stranded way off of his line, to crash that ball home, and that is absolute heartache for Guiseley.
Yeah, we've got 7 minutes to go. Can the Lions come up with something? Not with a pass like that, though. They can't. As they've given possession back to Forest Green. Kenny Marsh-Brown in possession inside the Forest Green half. Long ball forward is a poor one. That bounces all the way through to Dan Atkinson. There needs to be some real urgency from Guiseley. They completely don't deserve to be behind. In the second half, Forest Green have grown into it, but you can't ignore the first half that Guiseley had. It's Anthony Dudley looks to play in Liam Dickinson. Dickinson keeps it in play, delivers a cross, headed away by Dale Bennett. It's a great challenge from Jake Lawler to win possession back. Now Atkinson. Now Danny Lowe. Just inside the Forest Green half. Sends it up to Liam Dickinson. Dickinson gets his head onto it, knocked down. But David Pipe half clears it away. Only out as far as James Hurst. Now Dickinson again, forced to come out onto this right hand side. This is the problem. You need Dickinson inside the box. At the moment, it's been forced wide onto this right hand side. And he's ended up conceding a free kick for a foul on James Jennings.
Yeah, and look, it wasn't a disastrous piece of goalkeeping by Dan Atkinson, who's done really well again tonight. And we've seen it, actually how difficult it is to time your run off the line, with Stephen Drench as well, struggling with the timing of that last week. But when we look at that back on the highlights, it's going to look like a series of unfortunate events was our undoing at this point. And the players were down on their haunches. They're trying to lift each other out there now. But some wise old heads went down in disappointment as that goal went in, and they just need to try and raise themselves to go again. Mark is making one last change as Forest Green make another as well.
Yep, couple of changes, one for each side. For Forest Green, Marcus Kelly coming on to replace Elliot Freer, and for Guiseley, Danny Boschel goes off and he's replaced by Adam Boyes. So a clear sign of intent from Mark Bauer in this last 4 minutes plus added time. You'd expect 2, probably 3 minutes of added time, it has to be said. We just need to create that opportunity, that last chance that we need.
Yeah, the main problem is going to be getting the ball at this point with Danny Boschel off. Only really Jake Lawler now left in midfield. Dickinson, Boyes, Nicky Boschel, Dudley all trying to push on, and if Guiseley can get the ball up there, then something could happen. But they've only got 3.5 minutes to do it in.
And at this stage, we've got to focus on getting that ball forward. Liam Dickinson does something to get the ball through to Hurst. The flag stays down though as Keefe gets into the 18-yard box. White shirts do get back though. And Keefe plays it now to Brett Williams, the goal scorer. Anthony Dudley comes across, gives him a bit of a shove, but Williams still has possession of the ball. Now Moore. Back now to Kelly, the substitute.
A sensible play that by Forest Green actually. Moore had his first touch was really poor, and it had pushed him out wide of goal from what looked like a one-on-one situation with the keeper, and they chose to just take the sting out and hold the ball down for a little bit longer in that corner. Brett Williams holding the ball well just to slow Guiseley down.
Guiseley looking to get the ball forward, but they've conceded a free kick. Adam Boyes is man judged to have fouled David Pipe. Not for me. David Pipe just missed his kick more than anything. No, a free kick it is.
And it's down to random rolls of the dice now. We've got Boyes and Rothery on the pitch who haven't had a chance to come up to the speed of the game. They're just there to see if the sheer weight of numbers and the fresh legs can make something happen.
I think the attendance was just given out then. I'm fairly certain I heard 550.
It looks like more than that.
It looks like more than that, and that would be very disappointing, frankly. To say we're playing the side that are currently second in the National League, and we've given them a really good game. Not deserving of being behind for me, but from their point of view, since the goal, they've just been trying to manage the game as best they can. Because James Hurst goes for goal from distance, doesn't take any deflections.
Well, he didn't have any choices there, Hurst, to take a long-range shot on his left. I mean, Forest Green are lining up well in their banks on the edge of the area. Very compact, men behind the ball, doing absolutely what they should be. As Ollie Johnson gets up from the stand and hobbles off down the touchline. That's not a promising sign.
Just over a minute plus added time to go. Guiseley 0, Forest Green 1.
Came so close tonight. Really good performance and came really close.
And you can't come closer than Emil Sinclair. With one shot, hit 2 posts, had a late in the second half that from a really tight angle was really unfortunate as you saw it rattle the crossbar. James Hurst just trying a little bit too much against Marcus Kelly. Poor clearance though. The ball goes in now to Adam Boyes. Boyes plays it down this right hand side, finds James Hurst, gets the cross away, drops to Boyes on the edge of the box, takes the deflection through the legs of Rancine, and somehow it goes behind, and he's given a goal kick.
Oh, that's an absolutely shocking decision, Chris. We were right behind that shot. Boyes did really well to get it off with his left foot. It was travelling into goal. That was on target. It's been deflected wide for a corner. All of the Forest Green players are keeping themselves a long distance away from the referee. They want the referee to argue this one out with the Guiseley players. He can't change his mind now, Yates, the referee.
Oh, what that... As decisions go this season, that is absolutely shambolic. Disgusting decision. It was a blatant deflection.
It's not disgusting, it's an honest mistake. It's a really, really frustrating one. Chasing the game, bodies in the box. As we head into injury time, 3 minutes of it at the end of this game, and the referee's made a really unfortunate mistake. Guiseley are distracted. They've been arguing with the referee. The momentum's gone.
I don't know how he missed it. Nobody knows how he missed it. No wonder the Forest Green players suddenly disappeared all over to that far side of the pitch, well away from everything. Horrendous call by the referee.
But it's only a corner, and we've had other corners in the game and not scored. And what's more important is that Guiseley go again now.
Well, we're into the 3 minutes of added time. In fact, I reckon now we are about a minute or so in. As the referee doesn't give a free kick in Guiseley's favour, and Forest Green looks to come forward. Marcus Kelly's just going to take this to the corner flag. The supporters and the players still enraged by that decision that completely went against Guiseley a moment or two ago. Throwing now for the home side. Now Hurst. Now Rothery. Rob Atkinson gets it forward for Guiseley. Dealt with though by Rob Sinclair. Now Atkinson again. Takes a throw in quickly. Gets it back to Dan Atkinson. Guiseley have got to push forward. A minute and a quarter to go. You'd think there'd be a little bit more added on. As Adam Boyes gets to a flick on. Looks to get it through. Cleared away by James Jennings. Out for a throw in on that far side.
Yeah, chance for an attacking throw in. Danny Lowe will take the ball just in front of the edge of the main terrace where all the home fans are standing. Guiseley players forward. Can Gavin Rothery swing it into the box?
Throw in has been taken. Comes back now to Rothery. Drops it into the box. Great touch from Adam Boyes. Boyes inside the 18-yard box. He's forced back out wide. They've defended well from these situations of Forest Green. They've got themselves another throw. 5 or 6 yards away from that corner flag on that far side. The throw-in goes all the way back to Danny Hall. He's got to get this in quickly. Instead, it goes out of play off Keefe for another throw. This one goes to Dickinson. So many green and black shirts back. Everybody is back around the edge of the 18-yard box as this cross comes in, takes deflection, drops down to Lawler. He knocks it over to this right-hand side to James Hurst. Can he deliver that all-important killer ball? No, he's closed down well by Marcus Kelly. Goes out for another throw. This is where you really need Ryan Toulson with the long throw. The throw-in is taken quickly and short, lifted back into box. Hits a Forest Green players, the supporters behind there, appeal for a handball, not given. Cross comes back in from Hurst, and that is that. The referee blows the full-time whistle here at Nethermoor. The Lions falling behind relatively late on. A heartbreaking defeat, and one that, on the balance of play, isn't deserved. They should have taken something from this game, the way they've played. Full-time here at Nethermoor is Guiseley 0, Forest Green Rovers 1.
Well, it's hard to process how cruel football can be sometimes. Now, this was a game that Guiseley had dominated large stretches of. They played brilliant, fast, incisive, attacking, passing, moving football throughout. Couldn't have been in more contrast to the game that we saw on Saturday on such a difficult surface. Tonight, Guiseley showed themselves at their best with Dudley and Norburn back in the side. The pace and the passing was of a different class to what we've seen in the last 2 games that the Lions have played. But as time went on, the unfortunateness of that Sinclair chance in the first half that came off of the inside, first of the left and then of the right post, and rolled across the goal line for Arnold to save. And again in the second half, where he crashed the ball against the underside of the crossbar, and that started to really show. And Guiseley had their best chances. Forest Green took theirs. It was a defensive mishap. Who knows what part the injury to Norburn played in the build-up, and who knows what a split-second difference in timing would have done for Dan Atkinson's ability to keep it out. All in all, you just have to say it's very unfortunate after a really good night's work and a really good game's play by both sides. Forest Green will go away with 3 points and a clean sheet, and it will look to the rest of the footballing world like it was a routine victory for the team near the top of the table. But those of us here tonight know that there was far more to it than that, and that Mark Bauer's men can be really proud of their performance.
Well, we'll finish off by looking at the other scores around the grounds. Braintree 2, Halifax 0, Cheltenham 0, Gateshead 0, Grimsby 3, Woking 1, Guiseley 0, Forest Green 1, Torquay 2, Welling 0, and Wrexham 2, Kidderminster 0. So, for the league table, with Cheltenham being held at home to Gateshead, Forest Green, their win today moves them to within 2 points of Cheltenham at the top of the Vanarama National League. Cheltenham on 79 points with Forest Green on 77. Well, we'll round it up and wrap it up there. A battling performance, a spirited performance, a performance that deserves so much more than it's got for Guiseley. Full time here, it's finished Guiseley 0, Forest Green Rovers 1. Join us on Saturday as we welcome Braintree to Nethermoor Park. Colin Robertson will be here for that one with you on Saturday. Thanks for listening in tonight. It's been a pleasure, if not a disappointing one at the end of it. Cheerio.